Everyone has a specific dish that they consider the ultimate comfort food. For me, that is a casserole that my grandmother's friend and neighbor made when I was a teenager. It's also quick, it's easy, it's a typical 80s casserole where you're opening cans and throwing things together, but you know what? Sometimes that's okay. Thanks for joining me today on Susan's Cozy Kitchen while I'm making a sour cream chicken casserole. The first thing you do is boil some chicken, or if you have rotisserie chicken, you've baked chicken, you've grilled chicken, as long as you have some cooked chicken, you are good to go. I like to boil mine with a little bit of onion and some chicken bouillon or better than bouillon in it, just to flavor everything up and make it absolutely delicious, kind of boost that chicken flavor. But however you want to fix your chicken is fine. You just want to make sure that you have 2 cups or more of chicken to go in this casserole. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the chicken out and start chopping it and then tossing it over here into this shallow bowl so that it can start cooling. So let's get that going. When I do this, I always start by cutting off any skin or fat that I see around the edges of the chicken, just so that it's a little quicker, a little easier, a little faster to chop. Okay, so, and I just cut this into some bite-sized pieces. You know, I don't worry about being precise. I don't worry about trying to make everything the same size. You just cut it up into bite-size type pieces. If it starts shredding, that's okay too. You just basically want to get your chicken into the sauce. There's the stuff I don't want and the stuff I do. And I will continue doing this until I have all the chicken chopped and over here to cool. Okay, so I have probably 2.5 cups of chicken cut into bite-sized pieces. Just going to slide that over here out of the way and move on to the next thing. A vintage casserole needs a vintage casserole dish. So today I'm using one of my vintage Pyrex dishes. With this casserole, I don't hold back on the calories or the fat. Real butter to rub on the inside of my casserole dish just to keep things from sticking. Quick little rub here. Okay. The dish has been buttered. Through the years, I have learned to make this casserole a little bit different than Miss Grace did. I'm going to tell you her way to make it, and then I'm going to tell you my way to make it. So you can decide if you want to do it her way or my way. When she would make this, she would crush a sleeve of Ritz crackers. She would melt a stick of butter and she would mix them together. Half of that she would put in the bottom of her casserole dish. Then she would put the chicken with the sauce on top of that, and then she would cover it with the other half of the buttered Ritz crackers. Y'all, I can't do that. The crackers are buttery enough all by themselves. I don't add the butter, and I also only put the crackers on the top, because if you have them on the bottom and the top, it's such a thin layer both places that it just wasn't, you know, you almost needed a whole sleeve on the bottom and a whole sleeve on top, and then you've got too many crackers. So I only crush mine and put them on top. Here's the other thing that I do a little differently. When she made hers, it was the sour cream, the soup, and the chicken, and she just let that be all the broth that was in there. If she added any broth to hers, She never told anyone, so that may have been her secret. I don't know. I like mine a little bit brothy. I don't like it too dry, so I add a half cup of chicken broth. I use the broth left over from cooking the chicken, so that's another reason I always make sure I season the water when I cook the chicken so that I have a really yummy broth left over to use in the casserole. Let's start putting this together. First, a can of cream of chicken soup. I use the classic, but you can use the lower sodium, lower fat, healthy request, whatever. I stick with the original, but that's just my choice. I like that. Okay, so there's that. Now I add the broth now into the soup and stir that together. If I've had a chance to let the broth cool sufficiently, I don't worry about adding it in at this point, but since it's still pretty hot, I'm adding it in with my soup right now. And just mix that together. Now, 8 ounces of sour cream. I don't worry about measuring this. This is a 16 ouncer. I'm just going to kind of cut across there and pull out half. You can measure it and be precise if you want, or you can just do that, or if you really don't want to eye it and don't want to measure, buy the 8 ounce container and you're set, just a whole container. But I like to buy the 16 ounce and then just use half of that. And this is one of those things that it really doesn't have to be precise. If you want to use a 1/4 cup of chicken broth, 1/3 of a cup, but no more than half cup. And then, if you want to use a little bit more than 8 ounces or a little less than 8 ounces of sour cream, that's going to be fine too. Now, again with the sour cream, I go for regular sour cream. You can do the lower fat or the no fat, whichever one you prefer. The other thing I do to the casserole, it always seemed a little bit bland to me growing up. And I discovered that just a little bit of onion brought just an extra dimension of flavor to this casserole. So I like to add just a tiny bit of the dehydrated chopped onions. I'm going to sprinkle in just a regular spoonful, and that will be sufficient. It's enough to add a little flavor without it being obnoxiously onion flavored. Okay, so there's the sauce. And now just pour the chicken in and stir that together. You want your chicken incorporated really well into your sauce. All of it covered and saucy and yummy. And then into the casserole. Okay. Pour it all in there. Spread it out evenly. And now crunch these Ritz crackers into oblivion. The tinier you can get them, the better. You can crunch them in the sleeve, you can pull them out, you can put them in a Ziploc bag and, whack that with a rolling pin, however you want to crush them. As long as you get them crushed, that's the main thing. Be careful opening the end. And if you do crush them in the sleeve, make sure that you don't end up blowing out one end of it and having crackers all over your kitchen. All right, and then just pour those across the top. At this point, if you want to dot a little bit of butter over the top of it, that would be delicious. Again, I don't find it necessary to do that, but you know, your kitchen, your rules. If you want to add butter to it, please do. Now into a 350-degree oven for anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. Basically, I cook it until the crackers are nice and brown on the top and it starts bubbling around the edges. When it does that, I know it's ready. Okay, into the oven, 350. If you're enjoying today's video, please be sure and give it a big thumbs up. If you've not already, please do subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you find out every time I've uploaded a new video to YouTube. It's been 30 minutes. The crackers are nice and golden brown on the top. It's starting to bubble up a little bit around the edges. Not sure if you can see it, but it's starting to bubble there around the edges. Looks great, smells great, and I know it's going to taste great. This is one of those dishes I've made it so many times, I don't even have to taste it for you because I already know the sour cream, the onion, and the cream of chicken soup have combined together into just a delicious sauce to complement the chicken. The nice crunchy crackers over the top. It is comfort on your plate. The full recipe is in the description box below. Be sure and check that out while you're there. If you're not following me on social media, there are links for Facebook and Instagram. I'd love to connect with you there too. Thanks for joining me today on Susan's Cozy Kitchen. God bless.